Okay, we're going to be talking about smoothing, and we're going to talk about three mean smoothing, often called three moving mean smoothing. Okay, so if we're doing three mean smoothing, we're going to grab ourselves three data points. And the whole idea is, you can see we've got this X and Y values plotted below. We want to actually make something a bit smoother that doesn't have these jagged peaks and troughs. Okay, so that's the aim of what we're doing. And it's three mean, so we've grabbed our three, and that 3 is going to be centered here. Now it needs to be centered so that we can make a pair of numbers. We've got an X value and we want to have a new Y value, which I'm going to put down there. Now that means we lose this data point. So you do lose data points. If I grab another color and show you, if I make a loop here, I can't center it there. It doesn't make sense because I can't say Y plus 5 plus 2. So my first spot is actually a little bit different from the previous Y values. We lose one. And all I've got to do is add those three numbers up and divide by 3. So 5 plus 2 plus 5, that's 12. So if you divide that by 3, you get 4. Okay, you could plot that and say that's 2, 4. So you can see that point is there now. And that's the whole point of saying that we need a new pair 2, 4 rather than 2, 2. All right. And we're just going to keep doing that. I'm going to plot all the points along, but I'm just going to show you how it works with the numbers. So we've got 2 and 5 and 3. So we add those together, and that's centered here. So 2 plus 5 is 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 divided by 3, that gives us about 3 1/3. I'm going to round it off to 3. Let's do some green. Let's grab these three. That's centered here. Just moving one along. 5 plus 3 plus 1 is 9. Divided by 3 is 3. Let's choose purple. And then we've got 3 plus 1 plus 0. That's 4. It's centered here. And that's 1 1/3. So that's 1. And let's go back to red again. So we've got 3 here. We're going to go 1 plus 0 plus 2, center it here. And that's 3 divided by 3, which is 1. That was an easy 1. And then let's go back. Let's do a different shade of blue here. And we're going to go 0 plus 2 plus 3. That's 5. That's centered here. That's roughly 1 2/3, which is 2 when you round off. I'll show you how to round off easier on the calculator in a minute, because I know some people struggle with that. Let's choose another shade of green. 2 plus 3 plus 1, centered here. And that gives me 6 divided by 3 is 2. And again, we can see we can't make another group of 3, so we've lost one off the end. So we're losing data points as we go. That's one of the things that happens with smoothing. Now, as you can see, this is now those values that we got before plotted, actually not rounded like I did before. But you can see like this graph is going like this, and we've lost our spikiness. It's not going as up and down as much. It's smoother. That's why it's called smoothing. Now, we did make you pay for a very expensive calculator because that's part of the rules. So now let's see if we can make it all work for us and earn its money. So this is our X values and our Y values. Just type those into your calculator. And what we want to do is smooth them. So remember, we lose the first point because we're centering on these three and going to output it here. And that's in cell C2. So if you don't know about cell numbers, because this is C and this is 2, so C and 2 meet here. That's what we call a cell reference. And you can see it down the bottom here. It says C2. So now we've just got to stick a formula into C2 to make this whole thing work. So next simple step is just to press equals, and so you can see we've got an equals symbol there. And the formula we need is mean, because it's called moving mean. So you press calc, list statistics, and just grab the mean there, and I'll do all the typing for you. Well, now we got the word mean here. We've got to make sure we actually tell it the average of which cells. So you just kind of like click in B1 and then you drag it down to B3, and you end up with this formula down here that says B1 to B3, and that's what the colon means. You don't have to close the bracket because if you just press enter, it'll do that for you anyway. So all done, and that should pop out the right number. And there we have it, the number 4. Now we want to actually then get this formula to fill all the way down to here, but remember we don't want this square and this square because they're lost in the smoothing process. So now we want to click back where you were before. So click on the 4, which you've highlighted here, and then just drag it down till you get to cell C8. And you can see we've got C2 to C8, and that's still our formula that we have. So once you dragged all them, we're going to then do just filling in those blanks. So we're going to choose Edit, Fill, and Fill Range is what we want to do. And if you've done everything right, this formula should be there. If it's not, it's probably because you've got your range wrong. You've probably chosen C3 to C8 or something. That's a common mistake. Click your OK and you'll be fine. Just make sure that everything matches up there. And you did start by dragging from C2 to C8. Okay, and there it is. All the values, they're not rounded in any way. So that's the values we wanted to plot as the 3 moving mean smoothing. Now you can actually graph all this on your calculator, just if you want to check anything. So you select your cell B1, just tap on there, and then while you're holding down, just drag it to this corner here. That's B1 to C9, and that's selecting the data we want to graph. Now to graph it, you click Graph, and we want a line graph, and we want to click Clustered. So click all those. And there we have a lovely 3 moving mean smoothed graph, much smoother than the blue jaggedy line of the original data. All right, extra bonus calculator trick. So we're just going to try and round these numbers because I know people have trouble rounding numbers and make silly mistakes. So if you just highlight your C1 and then drag down to C9, there we go, C1 to C9. Then we're going to click Edit, Format, and Number Format. And we're going to choose Fix 1 because we only want 1 decimal place. If you wanted 3 decimal places, you can do Fix 3. So there are options there for you. There's also scientific notation down here, and you can just do system or normal, but we're going to choose for our situation, we're just going to choose Fix 1 to make it 1 decimal place. And there we go. Now all those numbers are lovely and rounded to 1 decimal place, all there.